Hello everyone, my name is Asim Khan. Today our program is People from Geological Science. Today's guest is Matt Musso. He's doing his PhD in Colorado School of Mines in the US here. Welcome, Matt.
Hi, Yessi. Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Firstly, I would like to thank you for coming to this interview. I know you are very busy with your PhD and assignments. I really appreciate that. First, I would like, before beginning this, could you tell a bit about yourself?
Yeah, so I came to Colorado almost 10 years ago. I got my master's here, and I'm currently on my PhD. I did my undergrad at Lafayette College in Pennsylvania. I was originally born in Florida, and I have a dog and a fiance, and I'm really happy here.
So, do you like living here?
I do, yeah. Growing up in Florida, there wasn't really a lot of seasons. It was just hot. But now we get to deal with the fall, the snow, so it's nice. Yeah, it's very pretty. The mountains are beautiful. The people are great. So it's very outdoorsy and very active and a great place for geology.
Yeah, I agree, totally agree with you. The reason why I'm asking is that there are mainly three things which I like here. Firstly, since moving to this place, never have I got stuck in traffic jam. Secondly, the place where I live is so quiet that only passing cars disturb the tranquility of that place.
Yeah.
Thirdly, people. So people with whom I am working now, like you, are friendly. So we can hit it off easily. So do you think, is there any disadvantages of living here?
I mean, depends how much you like the cold, because sometimes it can snow and it can snow a lot. So dealing with the snow in the morning, having to clean the snow off your car, that's the only kind of disadvantage I can think of, is just dealing with cold weather occasionally. But for the most part, it usually melts in a couple days. But yeah, the occasional snowstorm is rough.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. And another disadvantage which I noticed is maybe the absence or shortage of shops close to apartments. So if you want to buy something, you have to go to Costco or Walmart, which are at least 15 miles away. Yeah. Matt, as you remember, in September, we were in field trip in New Mexico and Texas states. During that field trip, I learned lots of things from you guys. Calculations of outcrop fractures, lithology description, and fossils like bryozoans, brachypods, and reefs. Not until you showed an amazing presentation about crinoids, which provoked my interest to know about it more, had I realized how they're important in geological science. So could you tell me about crinoids a bit, how they're important?
Yeah, I mean, I could talk about crinoids all day, but in brief, they've been around since the early Ordovician, around 480 million years, and they still exist today in the ocean floors below 100 meters in water depth. They're echinoderms, and they're related to starfish and sea urchins and sand dollars and sea cucumbers. And so back during the Carboniferous, where the rocks were, where we saw in New Mexico, there was the age of the crinoids, the Mississippian, the age of crinoids. And so the sediment that makes up the bulk of the rock out in New Mexico are composed of disarticulated skeletal remains of crinoids. And so I think as a geologist, it's really important to understand the basic fundamentals of the sediment that makes up your outcrops.
Thank you. One thing I was surprised at was how the crinoids skeletons turn into sediment particles. So, in the framework of your dissertation, have you carried out any experiments for certain species of crinoids to investigate the taphonomy through mechanical and biological breakdown?
Yeah, great question, Yassi. So yeah, I have two different types of experiments. One in which I take a crinoid and I tumble it to impose basically or simulate mechanical breakdown, or like in the real, depositional system would be turbidity currents or some sort of physical weathering process that would lead to disarticulation of crinoid skeletons. And then another one where I take a crinoid and I put it in bleach and I allow the organic matter to decay. And so contrasting those two methods of breakdown, we'll see what we sort of generate as far as particle size, particle shape, and then overall abundance, and relate that to what we then see in the rocks.
Interesting. Matt, based on your experience, can turbidity currents break crinoid skeletons apart or not?
Yeah, great question, Jesse. So after a long period of time, it did show that the crinoid skeleton was really broken apart. However, turbidity currents are typically, they're single pulse events. And I don't think they would last as long as what I found in my experiments. And also, they didn't yield the same sediment shapes as you would find in the field. So I think a majority of the disarticulation or the skeletal breakage occurs through biological breakdown.
Okay, good. Thank you. Matt, thank you. Next question. Apart from crinoids, what microfossils could you identify in your outcrop samples?
Yeah, so part of the fun is finding things other than crinoids. So we find a lot of brachiopods, a lot of bryozoans, and a lot of horn corals at the time. So to give us a good understanding of really the organisms that are living in that depositional system at that time.
Good, thank you. Matt, if you were given a chance to begin your career from scratch, would you choose your current profession again or not?
That's a great question. 1,000%. Choosing geology was really the best decision I've ever made. I've traveled around the world. I've met amazing people, and I don't regret it for a second.
Good, cool. So, would you advise young generation to choose geology or not?
100%, I would. I think it's the most interesting science there is, but it's important to learn about our Earth and kind of how things have changed over time. And I think it's a really amazing science, and the people are really special. So I do.
Thank you. Good. Matt, thank you for your time. Good luck on your dissertation.
Thank you, Jesse. Yeah, thank you. It's been a pleasure being here, and I'm glad you're here at Colorado School of Mines, and I'm excited to see you around the building.
Me too. Thank you. See you then.
Thank you.
Thank you.